Right, Lens, back up in Liverpool with the bomber Tony Bellew for our November catch-up. You looking well? Growing a moustache out?
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. This is Movember. This is the proceeds of it, and it's not very good. I look like... I'm not actually going to say it, but everyone knows what kind of men walk around with moustaches.
I can't comment. A beard's out of control.
A beard is a lot of looks, has got a much better look than a moustache. So yeah, I prefer the beard.
I think you're pulling it off. But let's move on to boxing anyway. Yeah. You're looking well. First of all, who do you think deserves to be crowned the Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year? It's quite a prestigious title, isn't it? But
it is.
I think Alexander Usyk's only won it once in his career. It's a bit of a surprise.
Oh wow, that's a bit nuts. I mean, doing what he done to the cruiserweight division. And myself, I think he more than, without a shadow of a doubt, deserves to be a couple of times winning that at least. I just think for the job he's done on the heavyweight division, you can't look past Alexander Usyk. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I think Terence Crawford's amazing. I think there's some shining stars out there. I think Bam Rodriguez is on the roll of a lifetime. Yeah. I think Naoya Inoue is just...
He won it last year, actually.
Yeah, I think Inoue's a monster. But in terms of... No one thought, besides me, thought that Alexander Usyk was going to do what he done to Tyson Fury. Yeah. And he done it. And I just think there's just no two ways about it. Yeah. I mean, it's nailed on if he's to beat him again.
That's it.
But even before he gets in the ring with him, I think he should be given it.
Yeah, fair. Earlier this year, you told IFL TV you expected Usyk to clearly beat Fury in their rematch. With that fight only a matter of weeks away, has anything changed your opinion on that bout? And having shared a ring with him, what makes Usyk so great?
I don't think it's going to be a clear victory. I mean, listen, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I was 20 stone and 6'9", I'd invade Russia. Never mind box. Of course he's got a chance. Yeah. If he employs the right tactics and follows through with them, he's got a chance against anyone. Yeah. I mean, he should be unbeatable. He's got the footwork of a light heavyweight and he's got the weight and size of a grizzly bear. Yeah. So he should be unbeatable. I mean, but it shows and proves how good Alexander Usyk really is. I mean, I think everyone thought Alexander Usyk had the chance. No one was actually saying it, but we all know how good he is. Yeah. No one foreseen the manner in which he won. Yeah. I never seen that coming. I didn't think he could bully him. It was just he bullied him. Yeah. And you've got to understand, when you've been getting called a middleweight, the whole build-up, and I'm going to bully you, I'm going to do this, and then he's actually bullying you. It's absurd. It's nuts to think what he done.
It's been a shock to the system for Tyson, wasn't it? Really.
That's where I come to this point now. You might have caught him out the first time. You might have shocked him, and he couldn't get his head around what was happening. You won't catch him out again. Yeah. So I don't think you're going to be able to use them bully boy tactics that you used in the first fight, even though it was against all odds and no one seen it coming. I just think, fool me once, fool on me, fool me twice. I just don't think it's going to happen. Right. So I think he might go into the fight with a different approach. I think if he chooses to box on the back foot, I do think he wins a lot more comfortable. But I just think Tyson Fury will come with a game plan. I do think it'll be closer. But I'm still edging towards Alexander Usyk.
So Lennox Lewis says he wants to see Tyson Fury heavier for the rematch. Do you think that's what he'll go with? He'll come in a couple of, maybe a stone heavier?
I don't think it may. No. I just don't think it adds to the equation. So I just coming in heavier. If anything, it's going to slow him down. He needs to be able to get to Usyk. He needs to be able to land on him and then be able to jump on him for the second phase of the attack. And if you're heavier, you're not going to get there. You're going to miss the second phase of the attack, and that for me is the biggest part. Okay. I just feel the most important thing going into this fight is the actual tactics. Forget about your weights, forget about the actual tactics. What is your game plan going into the fight? Yeah. You literally have to have a step-by-step game plan to beat Alexander Usyk. Yeah, I had it, but got tired after 8 rounds. Yeah, fair. So that's no good. Right. If it was a 7-round fight, I'd be undisputed world champion. But it wasn't. It was a 12-round fight, and unfortunately, he just gets stronger and stronger as the fight goes on. So he knows only too well now. I've never ever been as tired as I was after that fight, ever in my whole entire life. And AJ said the same thing to me, and I'm pretty sure when Tyson Fury finished that first fight with him, it'll have been the tiredest he's ever been as well. Yeah. I must also touch upon and say this. I'm not detracting anything from Alexander Usyk. Everyone knows what I think about Alexander Usyk. But what Tyson Fury's had to go through in his personal life is just heartbreaking. And my thoughts go out to him and his family. Him knowing what had been going on before that fight, it's not even worth thinking about.
No, for sure.
So my heart goes out to him, and you know, really do think he deserves an awful lot of credit getting in the ring after going through that.
100%. But hopefully this build up for this fight will be much more smooth and no tragic events. Speaking of, we talk about, you know, if it had been a 7-round fight, you'd have maybe beaten Usyk.
Yeah.
Jake Paul and Mike Tyson having an 8-round fight, but it's only 2-minute rounds, so I don't know really how it can be sanctioned as a professional boxing match. It's a bit of a joke. You made it clear you don't want to see that fight happening. However, now we're just days away from it happening. Do you have a prediction? Do you see it being a full-fledged fight, or do you think it'll be something more resembling a glorified sparring match, as some have suggested?
I'm right in believing it's not actually 10-ounce gloves, it's 14-ounce gloves. Okay, so there's another one. How can it be a professional bout? And it's going on Mike's record. Yeah. And then secondly, is the head guards?
No head guards, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think they got just the 2-minute rounds.
I'm not going to lie. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. Yeah. I don't know.
It's hard to predict.
It's just like, this could be, I just can't for the life of me see Mike Tyson turning up and getting in the ring angry, wanting to hurt Jake Paul. Because that doesn't suit the Disney boys narrative.
The narrative, right, yeah.
I just don't know. I've got visions of Mike getting in, basically laughing at him, but I don't know what's going to happen. I can't, because it's such a freak incident, such a freak. It's a circus, and because it's such a freak show, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah, it's nothing like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather.
No, they're two fellas in combat.
They wanted to win, didn't they?
Yeah, they both want to win. Yeah. One's a UFC doubleweight champion. Exactly, He's in his fighting prime. Mike Tyson is a granddad. Yeah. He's 58 years old, he's closing in on 60, and he's fighting a man, is he even half his age?
Just almost.
I don't know what he is.
28, I think 27,
is he 28?
28? Yeah.
I mean, Disney boy's he's attacking granddads now. Yeah. It's truly frightening. So, I mean, we might as well go to the retirement home and start getting out a few of them, because if Mike turns up and lands a right hand on him, he's going to sleep. So who should come back against? A 70-year-old?
All right. This is the question. Who, if he wins, who's he going to fight next?
If he wins, I mean, is he going to keep going like that with the age? Is he going to come down? Is he going to face a real boxer? I don't know. No, I have no idea.
It's hard to say. All right, let's talk about the British fight scene at the moment, because it's in a good place. It's got some world champions. Yeah. If you had to name your top 5, I'll read out some names and you say if you think they would be in your top 5 British fighters. Fabio Wardley.
Okay.
Daniel Dubois.
Yes.
Jack Catterall.
Yes.
Sonny Edwards.
No.
No.
Only, that's harsh, that, to be fair, because he's only lost to Bam.
Yeah.
Sonny's a really good fighter. When you say rate them, what am I, in terms of what? Rate them as in?
I suppose of...
Just pound for pound in Britain.
Pound for pound right now.
I can't rate him, you know, he hasn't fought anyone since Bam yet. Yeah. If he's to beat Galal, then he does go back into the pound for pound rankings.
That'll be a good fight, wouldn't it?
That's a brilliant fight.
British affair.
Yeah, Olympic gold medalist against a former world champion.
Yeah, it should be a great fight. Chris Billam-Smith fighting again
good
this
fighter.
week. Yeah.
Good fighter, going against Gilberto Zerdo. That's a good fight. Do you know what? I think Billam-Smith's a massively improved fighter, and you can only credit Shane McGuigan for that. Yeah. He's done a great job with Chris Billam-Smith. The job he done on Lonzo Coley was fantastic, even though we know Lonzo was just unable to safely make the cruiserweight limit anymore. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Chris Billam-Smith went in there and got the job done. Lonzo Coley's a huge puncher.
Yeah. He's improved since then as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had some great wins since then. The Riakporhe win, avenging a defeat, I think it was as well. It was a fantastic result. I don't know who's the more names you've got. I'll have to go back.
Hamza Shiraz.
Oh wow, some talent.
Yeah,
I rate him massively. Big talent. Doesn't have that signature win in his career yet, so I have to rate Chris Billam-Smith over him. He's got 2 signature wins there against Riakporhe and Coley. So for now, I'll have him just slightly above Hamza Shiraz. But in terms of ability and where I think he's going and what trajectory he's on, Hamza Shiraz is going to the very top.
Yeah. Interesting to see how his career pans out. Tyson Fury, obviously, he's got to be up there.
Of course, he's up there.
Without doubt. Okay, interesting. Where are we now? Anthony Joshua will not be taking up the Daniel Dubois rematch by the sounds of things. What do you think's led him to that decision?
I think it's a smart business decision to just sit and wait.
Yeah.
I think it's really smart. I mean, it wouldn't be my decision, but then not everyone thinks like me, and I know I'm also not dealing on the same kind of business level as Anthony Joshua. So you know, who am I to make decisions?
Yeah. So he's going to sit and wait to see what happens with Fury and Usyk, and then...
It's the smart thing to do, but I also think it's the wise thing to do. Going back into camp so soon after such a shell-shock defeat is very hard to do. Getting your head around things, a little bit of time away from the game, taking stock.
Sit back.
Reflect on what you've done, how far you've come, where you are right now. Prepare them correctly. You know, when you go into a rematch with someone like Daniel Dubois, you know exactly what you're getting into. His style's not going to change. What you've got to change is your performance, and then also what you've got to change is your mindset going into that rematch. You've got to do something different. If you want different results, you've got to do something you've never had before, that you've never done before.
So he needs to kind of rebuild.
Of course. I mean, rebuild's a strong word. I don't think there's anything wrong with his coaching team. I think Ben Davison is a good coach. Do I think he gave out a bit of bad advice? Yeah. But then should have his left hand been glued to the side of his face when going for an uppercut? Absolutely. He knows that. But I'm not going to lie, I also think he was 1 or 2 shots away from winning the fight. When that right hand lands, I think it was in round 5, on the side of Dubois' head, and you see him, he gets a reaction out of Dubois. He's going in for the kill. It's just, as fighters we know, it's a cardinal sin. You go in for the uppercut, this cannot be here. I mean, when you're going in for the uppercut, this has to be in tight, because the chances are he's going to sling a right hand. You see this coming before you see this coming. So the minute someone loads up with this, you want to meet them. You want to meet them because you know you're going to get there first. And just as he comes, he's coming from up here. It's so visible. It's a basic error, but we make them, and that's what makes fighting so great.
He took a lot of heavy shots, hadn't he? So he probably he
took an awful lot to get out of the first round. He's done amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
It showed there's nothing wrong with his heart, and he's got everything firmly in place to win a rematch. I genuinely believe that. It's just. It's here for me. What are you thinking up the top?
We want to see it, but maybe it will happen a bit further down the line.
It'll happen.
We'll wait and see. Daniel Dubois, what's next for him? Maybe Joseph Parker, I think, or Bakoli, the boogeyman. No one seems to want to fight him, do they?
I mean, I wouldn't touch a Coley with a barge pole if I was anyone in the heavyweight division, because mate, he's a problem. At that kind of size, with that kind of power, he'll be quicker than most of the heavyweights around because he's been used to dealing at cruiserweight for so long.
That's true, I just think it's a bad matchup. There's no fighter more deserving in the whole world than Joseph Parker. This guy's gone through bogeyman after bogeyman after bogeyman. He's defeated fighters against the odds to win over Zhilei Zhang. After beating Deontay Wilder, you think, okay, give him a title shot. No, let's just throw him in again with Zhilei Zhang. Another bogeyman no one wants to touch. And I classed Zhilei Zhang as undefeated because I thought Zhilei Zhang more than done enough against Hergovic to get the result that night. Semi-robbed,
I mean, robbed's a strong word, but I thought he'd done enough to win the fight. He should have felt very hard done by. I thought he'd done enough. But for Joe Parker to go in there and get dropped a few times, get hurt in that fight on a few occasions, and he told me personally himself, that's the hardest he's ever been in his life. Of Zhilei Zhang.
I'm not surprised, to be fair.
So he said he was so heavy, and he said, Tony said that every time he touched me, he was so heavy-handed. So I just don't think anyone's more deserving of a shot than Joseph Parker.
Not an ounce of fear in him. He'll fight anyone, anytime, any place.
The job him and Andy Lee are doing together is commendable. I think Andy Lee's turned into a brilliant young coach. And long may it continue. Good luck to them.
For sure. You mentioned Deontay Wilder there. Apparently he fought Zhang and Parker with a broken arm, so he says. And Malik Scott says he will definitely fight again in 2025. Despite losing 4 of his last fights. What do you think is still driving him to carry on fighting at this point? He's got nothing left to prove, really, is he?
Money and ego. I think his pride's hurting. I don't think for a second he was in the ring against Zhang or Parker with a broken arm. Not a chance. No one's getting in the ring with a broken arm. You're literally throwing shots.
I think he didn't know. He said he thought it was an old injury, but it turned out to be like a fracture or something. So that old chestnut. I think that's similar to that one of I walked to the ring with a 20 kilo weighted. The vest.
The vest on me, and then it came out later on that he trains with a 20 kilo weighted vest on.
Really? That was ridiculous.
So it's just, listen, I think Deontay's pulling at straws. And clutching at straws, should I say, sorry. And I've got a lot of respect for Deontay Wilder. I think he's a very powerful, one-dimensional fighter. He's a one-trick pony. It's just a hell of a trick.
Yeah.
That trick catches you, you wake up in an ambulance.
Very true, yeah.
But at the same time, I think he's running out of excuses now, and he's just got to accept that he's a very limited fighter technically, and he's got an awful long way with that very limited ability.
Yeah, when
power speaks, and you know, he's done really well with the cards he was dealt, and fair play to him, but don't make excuses and tarnish other people's careers, blaming injuries and stuff like that on your losses.
To go back to matching up with fighters that you know he can beat.
I mean, we've also got to look at, I hear this thing, he's one of the most powerful punchers ever. Who has he actually knocked out? He knocked out a 95-year-old Aussies.
Yeah, the Cuban, yeah.
And that's about it. I mean, okay, he's had Tyson Fury on the floor, but let's be honest, I think John McDermott's had Tyson Fury on the floor as well.
True point.
Steve Cunningham, the cruiserweight, had Tyson Fury on the floor.
Yeah.
So you can't, that can't be a claim to fame.
As well, didn't he?
Yeah, you know,
so
and Francis Ngannou. So
Ngannou,
it's not about who have you put on the floor, it's about who have you kept on the floor.
Good point, yeah.
That's what boxing is about. You look at the likes of the biggest punches who I kind of tend as the biggest punches the boxing sport's ever seen. I looked at the likes of Mike Tyson, who's got knockout wins over the likes of Larry Holmes, okay, albeit a slightly older version of Larry Holmes, but then has a knockout victory over a prime-time Michael Spinks, who defeated a very good prime Larry Holmes.
Yes.
So them kind of victories stand you in good stead, they really do. And then for me, the biggest puncher of all, without a shadow, is George Foreman. George Foreman rendered Ken Norton unconscious. He renders Joe Frazier unconscious. Now these aren't just world-class fights, these are icons of the sport. When you're knocking out world-class icons, then you know you're the biggest puncher of the sport. I don't think there's been a better victory for a knockout victory than stopping someone like Joe Frazier. I can't remember, one doesn't come to mind anytime soon. So
I think it's kind of more revisionism, isn't it? Because it happened recently with Deontay Wilder. People tend to think,
jumping on it.
Yeah, that's
it is, and like I say,
you're right.
Everyone gets ahead of themselves. You've got to look back through the history of the sport and associate yourself with the greats, and then ultimately you'll find the answers that they're somewhere.
Interesting. We talk about Eddie Hearn and Oscar De La Hoya and the proposed 5v5 Golden Boy matchroom.
It's nuts.
You think it's going to happen?
Yes, I do think it'll happen. It makes great TV. It makes great viewing.
We'll be excited.
I'll just be advising Ed to stay away from the boxing gloves.
Right.
So he doesn't need that. No. I mean, listen, as he said already, everyone's got a price. He's not lying. We all do have a price. But I mean, listen, Oscar De La Hoya is a boxing icon, a legend.
But they're talking about them two themselves
them
getting
two
in the ring,
going at it is just an absolute nuts.
The Iceman, as Carl Froch mentioned, 6-0 from Billericay.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's just...
We'll see.
It's one of them things. It is what it is.
But the actual...
It makes the actual card that's getting put together, that's being talked about, shall I say, it sounds absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, Virgil Ortiz against Boots Ennis is just... Jerome Boots Ennis is just phenomenal fight. I mean, I don't see anyone beating Jerome Ennis in any time soon.
No.
But as for the other fights,
got Devin Haney and Oscar Duarte.
Yeah, I mean, Haney's not really a matchroom fighter. He's more of a free agent who travels about and does what he wants. But I think the Duarte fight's a good fight. Yeah.
Jack Catterall versus the winner of Jose Ramirez.
No one's beaten Jack Catterall.
Yeah, he's
no one's beaten Jack Catterall at 140. I think the only person who has a possibility or a chance of beating him is Teofimo Lopez. And I wouldn't even say that's a definite. Jack Catterall is one of the most awkward styles and one of the hardest styles in all of boxing right now to compete with. This is a fighter who will not change his game plan regardless of what's going on.
Yeah, he'll make you change your game plan.
He will make you change yours, and then he will end up catching you, as Regis Prograis found out. He waited, he was so patient, and in round 4 he lands that big left hand that rocks Regis, and then that brings Regis to him because he feels like he's got to chase. Now he's behind. The minute Regis Prograis starts coming to him, he finds out exactly how hard it is to figure out the puzzle that is Jack Catterall. He's a nightmare, mate, he really is. I mean, he shouldn't even be allowed to box a southpaw straight away. They should be thrown out the gym the minute they put the right foot first. But his timing, he's so heavy-handed. People don't realise how heavy-handed he is. It's like he's bypassed the genuine stage without stopping them, really, because it's like he's wanted rounds, and then he's got to a level and a standard, and he's hating everyone he touches. Like, it was quite clear to me every time he hit Josh Taylor with a clean shot, he was wobbling and hitting him in the rematch. every time he hit Regis clean, he was hitting him and getting reactions out of him.
Yeah.
These are fighters who no one else can usually budge.
True, it's a good point. Yeah, it's the power seemingly coming later on in his career.
It's because he doesn't. It's because he doesn't load up. He lets the shots go. He lets his hands go, and he has. I think he's got an awful lot of confidence in his own chin.
Yeah.
So he has no fear of it. To be honest, of what's actually coming back.
Right.
It's such a good place to be in.
Good to see them getting the respect and the props that he deserves as well.
I think, I don't want to say signature win because he's got 2 now over the likes of Josh Taylor and the likes of Regis Prograis. I think a win over someone like a Teofimo Lopez puts you in pound for pound rank and stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
That's what that does. But I think he beats everyone else. I think the hardest fight for him is Teo, if I'm being totally honest. Everyone else, I think he beats hands down.
Okay, we'll see. Who else is on there? Shakur Stevenson, Jose Zepeda, apparently.
Zepeda,
so I should say, yeah. Munguia and Pacheco. So,
another one. I don't think anyone's beaten Shakur Stevenson. I think the quality that boy has, that possesses, is just second to none. The other one was Pacheco and
Munguia.
Oh, that's a really good fight. That is a good fight because we just don't know where Pacheco's at right now. You know, he hasn't really been tested and pushed to the limit yet. Whereas we know with Munguia, we've seen him in against Canelo. You know, we've seen his limitations, shall we say. Good fighter, really game, unbelievable work rate. But would that be enough to beat Pacheco? I mean, right now on paper, I'd probably favour Munguia going into that. Purely because I haven't seen Pacheco tested yet. That doesn't mean to take anything away from him, because Pacheco, just because he hasn't shown us it yet, doesn't mean he can't do it.
True.
But you've still got to go with the form, and the form guide leads you towards Munguia on a points decision. But nothing would surprise me in that fight because, as I said before, I just don't know how good Pacheco is yet.
I know a 60-40 fight, isn't it? It could be a good one. What else has been in the news? DAZN linked up with Queensberry after Frank Warren used to take the piss out of DAZN, didn't he?
Correct.
They're going to be fine on an app now.
It's a completely new turnaround now, isn't it? Everyone turns around at some point when the money gets involved.
Like 180,
yeah.
Interesting.
It's a 360, to be honest.
360.
But, listen, whatever works best for boxing fans, and this is obviously a good deal for DAZN. It's obviously a good deal for boxing fans. Having 2 of the biggest promoters under one under one broadcast banner is the most important thing for boxing fans. So taking your personal grievances aside, it's a good thing. More boxing on DAZN, the better.
Great for fans,
The promoters working together is a good thing. I just think all promoters need to be working together. I really do, because put away your ego, put away, you know, your agenda, because every manager, every promoter, all these guys have got their own agendas, and they've all got something they want to push. I just think what's most important is that all these are being brushed to the side, and that is, let's be brutally honest here, that is because of His Excellency Mr. Turki Al-Sheikh.
We've got to give him
that's
credit
why
for that.
That's why all these egos are getting pushed aside, because they're all making enough money and they want to basically keep him happy. And you can't knock that, because that means the big fights happen. So I'm fully behind it. What everything that he's doing, His Excellency or Turki Al-Sheikh's doing for boxing, I'm happy. I'm made up. I might not be part of it, but so what? Boxing is benefiting from it, and that's all I really care about. I love the sport. I've grown up in the sport. I've thrived in the sport, and I understand now it's record-breaking numbers that are coming through the sport, and that's thanks to him. So brilliant.
For the sport. Long may it continue. Other good news this week, Conor Benn's suspension has been lifted. We spoke to George Groves recently. He thinks Conor Benn will beat Eubank Jr. when they finally fight. I'm pretty sure you'll agree with that, or are you not so sure?
I'm worried about the weight, I'm not going to lie.
Depends, doesn't it?
It's a big weight jump, and there's a big size difference between them. If Eubank's allowed to bulk up to what he wants to bulk up to, and Conor's being asked to get to unrealistic weights, then I don't know. I mean, listen, it's quite clear to see the more explosive fighter of the two, and the fighter that you want to watch is without a shadow, without Conor Benn. I just don't know if you're being stretched a bit too far. That's my only worry, but I'll be backing Conor all day, and I'll be hoping he gets the job done, because good kid. I'm so happy his name's being cleared. And for all those that doubted him, for all those that said about this testing, if you do your research and look up on this thing, it's happening more and more to athletes with this kind of thing. We all know what it is, and you know, look up on it, educate yourself. I had to look up on it, I had to read about it. the pluses, the negatives, why they're actually coming more about now. 15% increase in all of sports in this kind of thing, what's going on. So
a huge percentage.
It needs looking at. Yeah, 15% when you say about sports and anti-doping, that is massive. 15%, you know, 15% of all athletes being drug tested. It's had a rise in the levels of it. So I think the biggest thing for Conor Benn is when they've said that he hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, so I feel for him, so therefore, you know, the kid deserves an apology.
Time out, isn't it?
It's a long time.
Psychologically for him, it's taking a toll, but
it's
so
huge.
Good for him to get back in there now.
It's huge, but what can you do?
No, all he can do is stay patient and just...
Mentally, he'll be a lot stronger than this.
That's true, yeah.
For this.
True. What do you make of the Joe Cordina situation? You know, he says he feels frozen out, but then Matchroom said his contract had come to an end. They weren't actually contracted to promote his next fight. So it seems like a bit of a situation where both parties have got it.
Do you know what? It sounds like 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. It's a bit of handbags, and I like Joe. Joe was my pick when they come out of them Olympics, of that little trio of them, the Boatzis and the Cody. He was my pick to be a superstar and shine. The Cache fight just caught everyone by surprise. No one's seen it coming. But I think Joe Cordina is a brilliant fighter. And as for contractual obligations and have you come out of contract, all that stuff is, as I said before, the political side of the game. You know, you can say you feel frozen out because that's how he feels, that's his personal feelings, and I get it 100%. But understand the reason you're frozen out is because you haven't got a contract. So no one's got a responsibility or a due diligence to you if you're not under contract with them. And you'd have to understand that. As promoters, like I said before, these guys have got agendas, they've got things that they want to do for them and their company. And the thing that they're going to want to do is push and promote the fighters that they have under contract. No one's going to push a fighter who's not under contract.
Well, also, if he'd won that fight as well, he would have been a much more desirable. You know, everyone would have been coming in.
I think that's I think take the fight out of the equation. He just needs to be under contract. Listen, I think I'm the only fighter in the history of Matchroom who wasn't under contract, but we dealt on a handshake, and we, you know, that's how it was, and it was it worked well for me because I just had serious trust issues about where I've been previously, but that's me and Eddie worked on that, and in the end we came to a resolve of I'd trust him enough, mate, to send him to the meetings that I needed to be at. I'd send him enough to, I'd have an event, put it on, and whatever it was, it was. And so I was very fortunate. But for other fights, you're not always going to have that relationship with the promoter. And I think the game is so big now. I think boxing's even bigger than when I was in it. That the commercial sense and the commercial opportunity you've got, you'd have to have contracts signed.
You have to maximise
you have to maximise your potential.
As well,
And then also, that's a great point. Security is a big thing now. So listen, it's as much on Joe as it is on Eddie.
100%.
Now, if I was a fighter coming now, I wouldn't get in the ring without a contract. Because of where boxing is right now. I would want the security. Doesn't mean to say I've got less confidence in myself. Doesn't mean to think I'm going to lose. But I'd want the security.
Well, Fabio Woodley took the risk, didn't he, when he left Matchroom and became a free agent.
He backed himself.
But it's worked out for him.
It's worked out massively.
Maybe Matchroom are thinking, you know, he might be the one that got away, but...
Listen, the way Frank and Eddie are dealing with each other at the moment, I mean, it might as well be just one big stable. So it is what it is. They're both, at this moment in time, both of their agendas align. How long that will continue for, I don't know. But I hope it's for a while because it's for the better of boxing.
100%. We've seen fights made that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. So
100%.
May it continue. Talk about I'm a Celebrity. Briefly, because we've seen Colleen Rooney is going to be in there. Barry McGuigan will be in there. Talisa from N-Dubs. Obviously, you've got any words of advice for Colleen at this point? I remember you saying it was the hunger that was probably the hardest thing for you.
The hunger's tough. So I seen Cole yesterday, actually.
Oh, did you?
So
Is she flying off soon?
I don't know. I don't know, but you know, I can't say things like. But
no.
Listen, if she's to go in, she obviously got my best wishes and I'm wishing her all the very best. But we've just got to wait now and see where she's at and how she does. She's a cracking girl. She's a proper Scouser, and everyone should be behind her from my city, and not just from my city, from everywhere, because she's one of the best people you could wish to know. A brilliant mother.
For sure.
So
that'll be the hardest part for her, not seeing her kids.
Listen, she's a proper mother, mate. She's hands-on with the kids. Our kids both play in academies, one for mine for Everton, hers for Manchester United. So we come across each other often, and she's a brilliant mother, mate. She's always there supporting the kids from the sidelines, supporting them.
Top stuff.
And cheering them on and guiding them well. She's done a brilliant job, mate. I said, a fantastic mother, a brilliant person, and she's created a lovely family.
Oh, good luck to her out there in the jungle.
I'm rooting for her 100%.
Yeah. Barry McGuigan, don't know if you know much about him or...
I know Barry, yeah. Yeah.
Surprised to see him going in there? Bit of a left field choice, I thought.
I don't know. I think he must have a fair few things he wants to get off his chest.
Could be, couldn't it? Could be.
Must be.
Yeah, fair enough. And Talisa from N-Dubs, a bit random as well.
They've all got profiles.
They got, I suppose they need to boost their followers. I've got a couple more questions about Jake Paul. Should we do that, or should we just call it?
Mate, fire away.
I didn't see this, but apparently they had a face-to-face, and Jake Paul gave Mike Tyson a $3,000 pigeon. You know, Mike Tyson loves his pigeons.
Yeah, I love his pigeons. I know most things about Mike, so wow, okay. Must have been a good pigeon.
That's right, good homing pigeon. Do you think the audience will get their money's worth for this? It's on Netflix, isn't it? I don't know.
At $6.99, you can't go wrong. You're going to be entertained.
Yeah, it'll be what you'll be.
And then listen, for $6.99, you're getting to see probably the greatest rematch female boxing scene so far in Taylor and Serrano.
Of course.
So don't forget that.
People don't need to forget that. Yeah,
don't sleep on that, because that first fight, I was there at Madison Square Garden. It was one of the best fights. Take away men, take away women. It was one of the best fights I have ever seen. Katie Taylor is just an unbelievable fighter. She got, she righted the wrong that she's had in her career, and now she's back to face Serrano once again. I mean, Katie Taylor, it's a toss-up between her and Clarissa Shields, who are the greatest female fighters of all time. But brilliant. I mean, you can't really look past Clarissa. She's still undefeated, and she just bosses everyone. She's fantastic. But Katie Taylor, for me, is just a phenom. She's phenomenal, mate. And what she's done for female boxing in the UK is just huge, mate. I give her so much credit, and I hope, I do know she's getting a record payday of any woman. I think it was $6.1 million I seen yesterday. Really? She deserves every penny. Well done. Good on her.
Well, we'll be watching, tuning in, and sure we'll be talking about it next month as well. So
without a shadow of a doubt.
There, Tony. Thank you once again.
Pleasure as always. Thanks, champ.
You too. Cheers.
Stay tuned, guys.